Now to create the neck binding, we will take our neck binding piece, which is a long kind of rectangular strip. Now we'll need to place it so right sides are facing. So right sides are facing, and we just need to stitch the two short edges together. So we're just stitching with that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. When stitching smaller pieces so your machine doesn't eat your neckband, sometimes it's helpful just to pull the thread tails as you're starting the beginning of your sew. We will then take our binding and just press our seam allowance. So we're just pressing our little seam allowance here. It's a little bit tricky on those short pieces. Now the next step will be to fold our neck binding so wrong sides are facing. And we just need to fold it over and press. Sometimes starch spray can be helpful especially when ironing knit fabric, just to stop it curling. Some knits are very prone to curling up, so if this is the case with your fabric, a good starch spray can help prevent that. And we'll just stitch around, just line around. So there we go. Now I'm just going to press in half. Pressing in half now has given us our points, and if we line up our stitched edge and our pressed edge, we can also get our other points as well. So now we'll just mark these with a pin, but we've now got four marks, 4/4 of our collar, our neckband. Sorry. So I'll just mark each with a pin. There we go. This is just a quick way, an easy way of doing this while we're still ironing. And our next step now will be to pin onto our Dreamy Drape. So we'll take our Dreamy Drape and we will now pin our collar from the wrong side around there, and you will need to line up each quarter of the neckband with each quarter of your Dreamy Drape. So you'll just take your Dreamy Drape pieces and find your centers and line up your neckband. Now you might notice, especially when you're choosing the different neck opening options, that obviously when you fold your Dreamy Drape, where the shoulder seams are is not actually 1/4 of your top, and so if you stretch your neckband, you will find that it'll be stretched more so along the front edge. Some knit fabrics will tolerate plenty of stretch, others less so. So if you'd like to find the exact quarters of your Dreamy Drape top, just line up your seams at your shoulders, find your center for the front, and then find your center for the back. Now you won't use your shoulder seams any longer to find the quarter there. So we have the center in the front and the back, which are now pinned, and then as you can see, our quarters are just a little bit further away. So now on that fold, I'm going to put a pin in here on that side, and then just holding it carefully, I'll put in a pin on the other side here. And that way we will have even quarters, which makes it just a little bit easier when we're lining up our quarters of our neckband as well. Our next step, after we've pinned our neckband onto our Dreamy Drape, is then to sew our neckband on. Now just be careful that when you're stretching your neckband that you do not also stretch your Dreamy Drape, otherwise it can end up wavy. If this does happen, I recommend lots of steam, but it just takes a little bit of practice sometimes to avoid these things. And plenty of pinning. If you need to put in a gazillion pins, just go ahead and do that. So I'm now going to sew the neckband on. Right, once you've stitched your neckband on, you'll then need to trim your seam allowance in half. So after you've trimmed your seam allowance of your neckband, just press that seam allowance down and the collar up, and this is how it should look now from the right side. And next step, we just need to fold over our neckband carefully, and I'm going to press mine down, so we just press it and then we're going to stitch it down, and this way all your raw edges are completely encased and you won't see any of that edge inside or out. So I've just pressed my neckband over, so this is the view from the outside or the right side of your Dreamy Drape. It's essential that you use that stretch stitch for the neckband, otherwise you're not going to be able to fit it over your head or your child's head. So do be careful, make sure that stretch stitch is on, and we're just going to stitch our neckband down. If you have a twin needle, this is a good place to use it. Again, if your pressing hasn't held down your neckband super well, feel free to put in as many pins as you need. And so once your neckband has been stitched on, go ahead and press. Hit it with the steam if you've unfortunately got any warped areas. Just ply that with plenty of steam, and that usually helps a little. And we'll move on to the next step.